Welcome to Tales That Stay, stories that stay with you.
The most dangerous addiction in the modern world is not drugs or gambling. It is the comfort of a monthly salary. A steady paycheck often becomes a silent agreement. Security in exchange for dreams, paid out 1 month at a time. This is the story of Elias, a man who grew up learning two very different lessons about money, work, and life. Elias was raised first by his biological father, Arthur. Arthur was an educated, disciplined man who believed deeply in stability. He taught Elias that success came from studying hard, getting good grades, and securing a respectable job with benefits. Arthur worked as a senior accountant, yet despite his position, financial stress followed him constantly. Bills were always due, taxes were always rising, and savings never seemed enough. Arthur believed money was scarce and unpredictable. To him, the safest path was employment, trading time for money and saving whatever remained. He worked longer hours as costs increased, unaware that inflation and taxation were quietly eroding his efforts. He believed hard work alone guaranteed security. After Elias's parents divorced, his mother married Marcus. Marcus became Elias's stepfather, and with him came a completely different mindset. Marcus was not highly educated and had no impressive job title. However, he owned businesses, property, and investments. He spoke about money as a tool rather than something to fear. When Elias once asked Marcus for money, Marcus refused to simply give it. Instead, he challenged Elias to think out of the box. Rather than saying, "I can't afford it," Marcus insisted Elias ask, "How can I afford it?" That single shift from statement to question changed everything. Marcus explained that most people work for money, but the wealthy make money work for them. He taught Elias the difference between active income and passive income, comparing workers who earn only when they work to systems that generate income continuously. One depends on physical presence. The other depends on structure and ownership. Instead of paying Elias an allowance, Marcus taught him how to recognize opportunities. He showed Elias that value often exists where others see nothing. Elias learned to profit from small ventures, reinvest earnings, and acquire assets rather than spend money immediately. Each lesson reinforced the idea that money should be used to buy income-producing assets, not liabilities. As Elias grew older, the contrast between his two fathers became clearer. Arthur worked his entire life, trusting the promise of job security. When retirement arrived, that promise proved fragile. Economic changes reduced his savings, and his expenses continued. He had worked hard, but he had never learned how money truly worked. Marcus, on the other hand, retired early. His assets provided income long after he stopped working. He had focused on financial education, building systems, and acquiring assets that produced cash flow. When Arthur passed away, Elias reflected deeply. His biological father had been honest and hardworking, yet trapped in a system he never questioned. Marcus had taught him that financial success was not about how much money you earn, but about how you think, what you own, and how you use money. Years later, when Elias's own child asked him for something expensive, Elias smiled and repeated the lesson that had shaped his life. He did not answer with fear or certainty. He answered with a question. How can you afford it? This is not just a story about wealth. It is a story about mindset, education, and choice. Anyone can work hard, but only those who learn how money works can ever truly be free. The choice remains the same for everyone. True wealth is not how much you earn, but how well you manage and grow what you earn. Money is a tool. Either you control it, or it controls you.